Alright, so I have some bad news. I'm probably gonna stop working on the VR anime game because I looked at it. I've been thinking about it for a while now. There's a lot of stuff that I have to put in that game that I don't know how to do yet. And I want to get a game done by the time International Games Week starts, which is in one, two, holy shit, 2 weeks? Yeah, I got 2 weeks to make a VR game and make it playable and somewhat fun. So, my VR anime idea probably. No, not probably. I won't be able to finish it by then. That's why I'm thinking, what's something I could maybe do? And I thought, maybe I can make a Dynasty Warriors kind of game where you fight many enemies and there's like hero enemies where they actually fight properly, and the little weaker enemies you can just whack and they go flying, and it's fun to, I don't know, do that, I guess. The more fun part is the fighting the hero enemies. I plan to try and make the kind of like Boneworks physics where you can push them and they react. They fall down and they try to get back up. So that's the plan. And with the enemies, I plan to like do a attack where you can do attacks where it sends the enemies flying. Because I remember there's a demo here somewhere, forget where it was, where it creates a vortex. And it pretty much pushes all the entities upwards. And in theory, I could probably just rotate that and just put it forwards, and it'll blow away all the enemies forward. All the weaker enemies. So that's the Dynasty Warriors part, where just heaps of enemies rushing at you and just blow them away with a swing. So that's the plan. Because it's somewhat already done, if I can find the demo. But it is somewhat done somewhere. It might not be in this project, but I remember it was somewhere. So that's why I'm stopping my VR anime project, because it's too much to do. There's a whole narrative I thought up of, and I have to create 3D anime models. Now with this Dynasty Warriors inspired game, or they're also known as Musou games? Musou games? Something like that. But pretty much it's lots of enemies, weak enemies, and you defeat them. And then a hero enemy appears and you have to fight them. Yeah. So that's why we're doing that. It seems easier. Well, I was already heading in that direction with the VR anime game. Like, I really wanted, like, really good physics interactions. And this game is pretty much focusing on the physics interactions, the combat interactions. And I plan to make the 3D models pretty basic. I don't plan to make it anime. Well, I'll try and make it somewhat anime. Like, some minimal anime. Like, Japan anime themed. Like, sakura trees and, I don't know, Japanese architecture. I don't know yet. That's why we're on Hacking Plan to figure out what would you put in a Musou game. How do you say that? So it's apparently Musou.
Musou.
That doesn't sound right. So yeah, we're creating a Musou game. So what do I have to program first? Now I have to figure out what's more important, the hero enemies or the mini enemies. So on one hand, the weaker enemies, they'll have less physics, I guess. Like, I'll probably use like distance checking instead of actual physics for the weaker enemies, because I'm gonna make like lots of them, like lots of these weak enemies. But with the more physics heavy enemies, they're gonna have more interactions. So I don't know which one to do first. I should probably do the hero enemies first, because that will be maybe the most expensive thing. So first we have to program. So let's dig deeper on what do we have to program. Oh yeah, and I also just figured out how Boneworks might be working. Like, it just uses joints, like physics joints. And I just found out that Unity.physics, the ECS physics, has joints. Like, I just found this out yesterday. But if we look into the components, physics components, you can see there's a component physics joint, and then there's a folder with joint physics, dynamic, and then joints. There's a script for physics joints, and there's like different constraints that you can do. Now it's slightly different in these demos because they use the old way of doing hybrid ECS. Well, they do it a different way. The API has changed a bit. So I think in this one, it uses game entity scripts, game object entity or something, instead of injecting it. Yeah, game object entity. Instead of doing that, we have to do a game object inject, game object convert and inject, and then using another script, we need to make a I convert thing where it adds the components and stuff in that script. So yeah, it's different. So I have to translate that in my project by using these as an example. So the best way to show that joints really work is the joints demo. So here you can see the joints. So just imagine it's like joint in the middle and this is spine. You just push it back. Actually, I have a better idea. There's a example. There's the car example, which has what I'm looking for. It's somewhere you wouldn't think to look at, but this antenna thing, it has reverse IK. Yeah. No, it's not. It's just IK. So pretty much this thing will try and always stand up, which is what I want in a game character, in a more advanced game character. So you'll see the antenna bend. So that could be like a character instead of a antenna. I just have to understand how the code works. So if I stop, it'll go back. It'll try and get back to its straight position. It's a bit floppy, but I'm pretty sure you can make it more stiff in the settings. So I might be able to get this script, this fabric script. So I pretty much have to reverse engineer this and put it into a character instead of a aerial antenna thing. Is this even ECS? I think it's like hybrid ECS. Anyway, let's get back to my project. So that's what I plan to implement somehow. So what I did was just copy all my previous stuff from the VR anime game into a new project. So pretty much, I didn't lose any progress. I just moved everything to a new project to experiment on it differently. And I didn't put any of my... Well, I have the models of my environment. Like this floor is from my other game. And there's a lot of scripts that I copied over. So this MB attach object, I'm probably going to get rid of. I'm going to change that into a joint or something. Pretty much make a joint to the hand or the other way around. Pretty much using joints to connect objects together in VR. That way they'll collide properly and they'll move properly, I guess. I don't know. I still need to experiment more because I just found about joints just recently, so hopefully it's not too difficult. So I guess let's get started. Oh yeah, I have notes on this, on what to copy pretty much. So the mouse pick behavior is kind of like what I want with the touching of objects, except it'll be much more quicker. Yeah, it'll just be much more quicker. Because this is pretty much what I want. Just pretend the mouse is the hand and it's already doing what I want. Just colliding with stuff. Simple, isn't it? I say now, but many problems will occur. Probably. Now this mouse pick behavior seems very useful. Oh boy. I've never seen these before, so it's gonna be a long day. So I pretty much have to learn how to do raycasts and put joints together using the Unity.physics library. So if I'm correct, this adds a spring. It's kind of like another project in 2D that I used to work on. Oh, on a different engine that I used to work on. So it was Hexfixel. This is where I spent most of my time. I was doing 2D stuff, and then VR came out, and then the Oculus Quest came out. I'm like, oh, I'll get into VR. So pretty much FixNape does this. It adds a joint. Oh, this might be a bit loud. Oh, doesn't matter because it's not recording my desktop sound. Nope, that's not the right project. It's this one. I remember looking at the code of this. Don't remember if there's a debug. No, there's no debug. But pretty much it makes a mouse joint and it follows it. A spring joint or something and it follows it. The only difference is that, well, it's 2D, obviously. And also it's using the job system, so it's another thing to think about. So I guess the first thing to do, the best thing to do is probably just to copy it and just make it work in my project. So I'll make this mouse pick work. So it's just an empty object. And we just copy this script. I should probably rename it. So it has some really good scripts. One of them is the mouse pick. Probably mentioned that before. And the other one is the camera control. So this one here. Probably all of these will be useful, but I don't want to just copy all of them. So I'm just going to get the camera control. And then we can just shove that in our center camera anchor. So now in theory, I should be able to grab... Hold on. Alright, so in theory I should be able to grab the Unity-chan physics object using these scripts once I put it on. Main camera control. So mouse pick behavior will be converted. What? Alright, center camera control. Once it stops loading. I don't even know what just happened. It's like I made a backup, which means something needs to update. For some reason my inspector isn't changing. Guess it's still loading. So I should be able to grab this after putting those scripts on. Oh, make this 1. Let me fix that script. It's this one. If game object entities.length is more than 0, then that should fix it. Now, 2 things should happen. I should be able to grab the physics objects, and I should be able to control my camera with the script that I just shoved on from the physics example. Make this 0. Alright, so I can move the camera, but I can't rotate it. Well, it works. I can grab it. And I'm trying to pull it through the floor, and it won't work. That's good. That's what I want. That's what you see in Boneworks and some other games. That's what I want. I'm just trying to drag it down through the floor. Doesn't work. Excellent. I'll probably turn this off. Maybe I can't. We'll see. But I pretty much want to control the character. No, the camera, not the character. So that won't work. I'll quickly check what this controls. The game object or the camera? It seems to be using the camera. No, not the camera, the transform. So it doesn't matter what I put this on. Oh, this is just a mono behavior. It doesn't have to be in a... it doesn't have to be converted. Oh yeah, obviously it's not an entity. So now that should hopefully work. Alright, so I had to step away for a bit. And I just realized that I wasn't supposed to start making games. Or started this. I was supposed to plan it first. But at least I got the basic features done. Just turn the gravity to 0. Or that doesn't work. Or at least it somewhat worked. Very weirdly. So I'll experiment a bit more and then I'll start writing down some stuff. Oh no, it's gone all weird. It's going reverse. So we want to see the joints, see how it works. I can't seem to see the mouse. I think there's another camera controller somewhere. I should be focusing. The physics. It's not drawing the joint. It's interesting to see how the physics system works. Like it gets the distance from the ground and the object using this broad phase thing. Don't know too much about physics, but I watched a few videos this week on physics. So I have an idea on how it works, but nothing too advanced. Remember there was a ray trace camera that this did? Ray tracer. I wonder if I could change it. Oh, you can change it. Didn't know that. I thought once it's changed into entity you can't change it. So there must be a script to do that. Oh, now that I know that works, I can easily debug stuff. That's great. So if I change the physics body physical body type. Will it change in the game? Nope. What if I just change the collision? Will that change, update it? Doesn't look like it. What if we change the mass? I don't think that script updates when you change it. Alright, so we got a basic project now that has pretty much what we want. We just have to translate it to a different system. I still don't know if I want an item to do something if you press trigger. Don't know how I'd do that. I mean, a struct can have functions, but I don't think... Oh, it's only a component though. It's only supposed to have data, so I can't do that. Yeah, it's one thing I still don't know how to do is activate the object in some way. Yeah, I still need to learn how to do collisions. But first, planning. We're just gonna make a board and just set the due date to next Friday. So the rest of this week will be... This week and next week will be mechanics, and the week before Melbourne Games Week will be polish, I guess. So I guess programming. 2 weeks of programming. 1 week of aesthetics, I guess. Milestone 1, I guess? Oh wait, I can just put it here. Create a new milestone. Core physics completed. Start right now. Just right now. It's not even 9 AM. Right now. And then next week, 9 PM. Yeah, next Friday. Enemies fly away, can be blown away with swings. Hero enemies have advanced collision physics. And we'll start it. Just put it 9 PM. What? Yeah, 9:13 PM. Alright. Physics programming. Now if I refresh this, this should have the proper name. Add task. Alright, so what do we need to program? Basic enemy physics. Use distance based or something low resource. What do you call something that doesn't use as much resources? Optimize with low CPU impact. No, that's not specific enough. Right, so that's probably all we need for now. Oh no, obviously we're missing. Attach code to attach object entity to player and using physics constraints. So movement will probably be not too hard, but I'll continue using the Oculus movement system, even though when you rotate your head and move, it stuffs up. But the main thing is to be able to hit stuff properly. And with the create the finish mission / round, I kind of have that with the game over system. I could probably change that a bit and fix it at some point. That's pretty much just component system. If all enemies are dead, then finish round. With ECS it's just entities.get all, wasn't it? Just entities dot for each for entities dot with all enemy component dot for each, and then just check if they all exist. If there's more than 0, and then if it isn't, then trigger something to say it's finished. We want to do the fun stuff right now. Physics. Now we have to reverse engineer this thing, and we'll close this one so we don't modify the wrong thing. Why does this work and it's all underlined? Oh, so with this limited degrees of freedom demo, I finally understand what it does. Pretty much it can only move in, well, a certain direction. So I can't move this forward and backwards. I can only move it left and right from this view. Now that would be good for when like a sword gets stuck into something. I can get the rotation of the entity it's stuck in and then just lock to that. Like stabbing an enemy, it'll get stuck on the enemy. That'll be useful. And this one's just a ragdoll. This might be the thing I want for when I create characters. So the mass is in kilograms. Alright. I think I just found what I need to make characters stand up. Center of mass. Let's make a sphere to collide with the capsule. Actually, I should just duplicate, just change the mesh to a cube. Okay, why is it all the way there? Makes a box. But why is it all the way inside? There we go. That was weird. And then we'll scale this page to... Pretty much if it's a cube, the collisions go weird, so if I make it slightly different, it's fine. Alright, bit weird, no problem. So pretty much we're going to simulate a punch, kind of. Is there any way to make this more stiff? Maybe if you join it with another object, it'll make it more stiff. Let's look at the inertia tensor. That might be something important, because I have no idea what inertia tensor is, but I think it's part of center of mass. Ah, so it is. What's this inertia tensor? Alright, so let's hide everything else except for the last two. That's strange. So let's duplicate that and mess with these settings. So if I made it 10, that should be a cube, right? Yeah, it's a... Alright, so we can mess with this in our own project with Unity chunk. So right here, we'll overwrite mass distribution minus 0.5, 1. We'll make this 10. Now that should make it very difficult to topple down. Why can't I see the mass properties? I should be able to see it. Also, I should make the iteration counter, because that's the default. Now, why can't I see the mass property? Is it because it's injected and not destroyed? That might be why. It's not pure ECS. Nope, it's still not there. Or maybe they visualize it differently. Or it's just broken, because I'm using a new version. It makes it more of a guesswork than using... Oh, either way it would be guesswork. Or maybe because this is very small. It was 0.4. Maybe that's why it wasn't being shown. Oh yeah, I should probably put inject. Nope, it still doesn't show it. Unless this thing, this circle thing, is the new center of mass. I guess the best way to find out is just to offset it by a lot. Yep, this is the new center of mass. It's no longer that cube with 10, 10, 10. Okay, so it's not that circle thing. Strange. Maybe this was just too small. Yeah, that's really strange. It's only when it's really big that the box appears. But I think that circle has something to do with the mass, I think. Oh yeah, I also have Psycho Pass, the anime, in the background, so you may or may not hear it at some point. It's pretty much something to stare at when I'm thinking. So is 5 like the minimum mass to view it, to render it? So let's rotate the center of mass by 90 degrees. Now it shouldn't make a difference because it's pretty even square. It's a square with equal sides. Oh, a square is equal sides. It's not a rectangle. Oh, something bad happened. Type load. Apparently putting a orientation crashes. Just put 90 here. Right, so I don't get how this circle works. I don't even know if it's connected to this, to the ECS system. It might be just part of the Unity-chan object. So instead of using Unity-chan, we'll just use a cylinder. Or, not cylinder, a capsule. Conversion, shape, and body. That's what we have to put on. Oh yeah, I forgot to disable the mesh on the mono behavior. Yeah, the capsule's gone weird. The collider, I mean. It's not following the object. I think I just have to get rid of the mesh. No, that's weird. I think when I click on it, that's the mono behavioral capsule representation. It's not the actual collision box. I can only see it in Unity-chan because it's only converting the parent and not the child objects. So I need to somehow make the capsule stand up faster. Maybe I could do it with
The center of mass. Center of mass.
What if I doubled this?